hi. Now, I've got a few minutes before I put the finishing touches on my hard rubbish pile, but luckily for you, you are currently listening to the ChrissieCast live from the compound, and I'm about to settle in with the force of nature that is stand-up comedian Nikki Britton. She is also an actor, a loving dog mum to Malcolm. Now, I first saw Nikki perform her stand-up at the Comedy Festival a few years back, and even though I had never met her, I just wanted to be her friend. My spidey senses told me she was one of mine. So I asked her out on a date, a total stranger, and we have just loved each other ever since. Take in this rollicking chat that ends up in the dark by a lake with an errant dog and a bellowing woman screaming, "Malcolm!" Who is that woman? Keep listening, ChrissieCasters. You're going to meet the irrepressible Nikki Britton. Welcome to the ChrissieCast, Nikki Britton.
Thank you so much for having me.
Did you know that we are around about the time of our 3-year anniversary?
Are we?
Yes.
That's adorable. I guess it was like in that time of mid-pandemic-y, like reaching out for connection.
Yes.
And yeah.
And I want to thank you for popping my cherry. You were the very first stranger that I saw in the wild, and I thought, I really want to be that person's friend. And I slid into your DMs. We had never met. And I asked you out for a coffee.
Yeah. Literally the only DM date that I've ever been offered. And it was the best.
Did you think it was odd that a complete stranger was doing that with no sort of sexual or romantic connotations? It was just just because I was so sad and lonely, and I just thought I just want this person in my life.
That is, I don't think there's a compliment higher. Like, that makes me so gooey and grateful and just like, that's just so lovely.
It felt very brave at the time to do it.
For you to do it, absolutely.
Yes.
Like, yeah, there's been definitely people that I've thought the same thing about, and you were probably one of, that I've never, like, that I would never do that.
Yeah.
So I was elated when you wrote to me. I was thrilled.
We should do it more often.
Yeah. It's tricky that, reach out to people, you mean?
Yeah.
Or have the coffee, because I was going to say we live in different cities, so that makes it tricky. But yes, I do feel that, because I never in a million years, like, I don't see myself as that. I don't see myself as like, yeah, people want to be this guy's friend. Like, you go through your own stuff and you are, in a prison of your own thoughts and your own beliefs, and maybe that's a prison, maybe that's a garden, maybe, I'm sure my therapist would have, put a positive spin on that, Nikki.
Maybe it's, Fritzl's underground lair. Who knows?
Whatever it is for you at that day, at that moment in time.
Yeah.
But you do it's an echo chamber of your own thoughts and your own company. For me particularly, because I live alone and I'm single, I know for people with kids and a million other things going on, it probably doesn't feel like that.
Yeah.
But your assumptions about yourself and your belief about yourself is kind of all you have, really, at the end of the day, when you're, in the dark night of the soul. And to have someone come in and say, I
like the cut of your jib.
I like the cut of your jib. And like you say, just in such a brave way, I don't know, I guess that means that I'm in some way approachable, which I am so grateful for. I love the idea that someone would just come and say that.
And you said yes, which I think is also brave. Because the tendency to go, oh my God, I've got nothing to offer a stranger. What on earth? Do you know what I mean? Like, whatever they see in me, I don't have it.
Maybe I didn't even think of that. I was like, yeah, all right, let's do it.
It was so gorgeous. I was so nervous when I put up. It was really like a first date.
Oh.
Because I really wanted you to like me too.
Oh my gosh, I did. How could I not? It's so funny as well, because I feel like I don't have as much of a profile as you do. And so I think, I was just like a Labrador going, well, yeah, okay, let's go and do this thing now. Where I feel like you had, in a way, you'd exposed yourself and showed more of yourself and your personality through the media. So I guess I had more of an idea of who you might be. And you were just like rolling the dice. more on me. But it was, I mean, you know, I knew that I was going to love you, and it all worked out.
It really did.
So
and
that's
here we
nice.
are again. It was almost to the day 3 years ago.
Shut up.
Yeah, 30th of April, 10:30 a.m., 2021.
We were doing brave, tiny brave things at that time in history, weren't we?
We were, yeah.
Like-
Did you change over the pandemic?
It's so funny. I think I did in ways that I am still working out. Because at the time, like, God, I'm good at coping in a crisis.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, you turn to Britain because I'll get it done. Don't worry about that. And then afterwards, and I feel like I'm still feeling the fallout of, because I was in Sydney, but we had that very, very big 5-month stint. And
Yeah.
I live alone, like I said, and I'm single, and I just really didn't have anything or anyone. There was no work, or obviously like a work in live performance. That wasn't happening. And so it was very much a time of coping and like using all the strategies that I had in the toolkit to cope, and made it through, and that was fine. But now on this side of it, I still go, whoa, why do I feel wobbly here? Why can't I quite gauge when my tank is going to be empty and how to fill it up well again? Because the things that used to fill it up don't fill it up enough anymore in the same way. So, yes, I think I've changed a lot, but I still am navigating actually how I've changed and what those changes are.
Yeah.
haven't
And
got
how
the-
they apply back in the real world.
Yeah.
It's a very odd thing that we've all been through.
It's really odd, and it is that like decenters you, because I thought I knew who I was, and I thought I knew what filled up my cup, and honestly I think I was right about it.
Yeah.
But this has just profoundly changed us all so much, and I know like COVID, we're sick of hearing about it, but I do genuinely think that we're still kind of processing all of that.
I think the biggest difference that I kind of realised, because it was a huge time for me, really huge. I think we're so used to, in normal life, pre-pandemic and in just normal life, kind of working out who we are based on everybody around you.
Yeah.
So really, I found that when all of that was taken away and there was no constant feedback or social interaction for you to gauge who you were, we all kind of got the gift, in a way, of being with our actual selves.
Intense self-reflection.
Yeah, because there's no mirror anywhere.
Yeah.
There was no one to tell you who you were or the type of person you were, and you had to work it out.
Yeah.
And I sort of found at that time that I found a photograph of myself when I was 5 in that time, and I was like, oh, that's who you actually are. And I started to really relate to that smaller person.
Yeah, right.
And I've got you to send me a photograph of yourself when you were little.
Yes.
And I think just talking about what you learnt then and how you're trying to find out who you are, I want to talk about this little Nikki Britton.
That little Nikki Britton.
She is so cute. I want to kiss her all over. And you know what? I want to kiss you all over now. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you're not that different. You also look at this child and go, oh, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see there's mischief and play, and what you can't see in that shot is my sister in the background, and she's on a asthma nebulizer because she was a chronically ill kid. She was, I had a pretty disrupted childhood because we were in and out of hospital, and she was kind of in and out of comas, and so
Right.
I know.
Comas, am I right?
Fine. There's a bit of trauma back there. But I feel like this was who I was, literally in crisis. She's in the background on a nebulizer, and I'm there trying to lift people, trying to be goofy, trying to be mischievous, and still trying to find the joy and the light in stuff. Which kind of echoes exactly what I was saying before.
Yeah.
That in the moment,
You've hung on to this person.
Yeah.
I love
She's in her little Mickey Mouse t-shirt. She's ready to go.
She's cute as hell.
She's a little rat bag. I do love the rat bag. I love naughty kids. Like I've worked with kids a lot through my life, and I think that's been something that I've adored doing, and I've been really lucky to kind of keep checking in with that part of yourself, that inner child, if we were to talk about it in therapy terms, but to kind of check in with that the essence of yourself.
Well, we must check in with our inner child. I know it sounds so corny, but that's actually who we are.
Totally. And also, kids don't give a shit. Like, kids are so not interested in the pretense or,
They haven't learnt yet.
Yeah, they don't. And they're not, if you're bringing them bullshit, they're like, no. Bullshit detector is so good in kids.
Yeah.
So you just kind of have to be authentic, and you have to find the joy and the play.
Yesterday I was driving home and I saw a little girl walking down the street with her father, and she had a little pair of bike shorts on and a T-shirt that was just a little bit too small, and her hair was, I'm sure it was neat in the morning, but it was sort of 4 p.m. and it was all skew-iff, and she was sashaying along. She would have been about 4 or 5. She had a pair of sunnies on, and she was holding a handbag. And I know, and I just wanted to wind down the window and go, never forget who you are today. It was just so gorgeous.
You're the vibe, you're the moment.
Yeah.
What a little queen.
Now, when I was starting in radio, somebody told me one sentence, which was listen, really listen. And out of all the thousands of hours of broadcasting and talking and competitions and giveaways and stuff I've done, that has been the single most important piece of advice I've ever received in this career. And I'm still mastering it, but whenever anybody tells me, what can you teach me about radio, I always repeat that line.
Yeah,
and
right.
most of the time they look sort of perplexed, like, what are you talking about? Is that it? And I'm like, yeah, that is actually it, the kernel of truth. Now, you studied a course in Paris called Clown and Buffoon.
I did.
Now, buffoon means a person who amuses by ridiculous behaviour.
Yeah. Well, there's actually like a French theatrical, it's a theatrical style they call it buffon.
Buffon.
And it's actually a bit of a political revolution type of theatre. So it's got its roots way back in royal jester times, I guess.
Yeah.
But what they would do is bring the people of the slums, the far, far lower classes, and they would come and they would stand in the palace and they would speak to the kings or queens. And the whole idea is that they speak the truth, but coming out of the. Can I swear on this podcast?
Yes, you can do whatever you want.
So, and this is absolutely no disrespect to the people that I'm describing, but in the theatrical teachings,
but
they
just
call
don't
them.
say the word "see."
Okay, you got it.
We
you
don't
got
want
it.
that.
No. They would call them the unfuckables. And so these people, you would dress yourself, you'd put pillows in your pants, and you'd be grotesque and grimacy, and but you would speak truth to power. And so
that's basically women in Australian media aged over 50. Yes. I get it.
Buffon, perfect. But it's kind of like in order to speak truth to power, you have to be so below, the concept in comedy of punching up.
Right.
So if you're so low, you're so poor, you're so unfuckable, you're so grotesque.
That there's no distraction from the people listening.
Yes.
Right.
So you may look up to the king or queen and say, oh, look at you eating your delicious cake. Is it not? Not even with, you have to do it with charm, total beauty.
Wow.
Is your cake delicious, is it? And then you hope, exactly what we're talking about, a moment of self-reflection, that king or queen looks at their cake and all of the abundance that they have on their table, and the person who has absolutely nothing is asking them, are they delighted? Are you satisfied, satiated? Are you having a wonderful life? And so it really is an art form based
And they
in
say,
revolution
no, I
and
haven't
rebellion.
had a shower in 2 years and I stink. What is the one line, the one piece of advice out of all the hours of study and performance and writing that you have achieved in the last 20 years? What would you say to somebody that wants what you have?
Oh, just be careful what you wish for. Man, I would say it's you bounce, don't you? You have the good times and the bad times. It's all such a roller coaster. I think that I would say you are more important than all of it. You absolutely prioritize your mental health, your relationships, your authentic relationships, your safety, your truth, because that's not, so much in this particular industry can feel disposable or, quickly judged or, you're always trying to pitch yourself. You're hustling. You're looking for funding. You're trying to get this idea off the ground. You're trying to network with that person to get in front of that and potentially get that opportunity. And it's so easy to outsource your sense of self and your sense of worth to other people and their opinions.
Yeah.
And so I think just like dig your heels in and figure out why you're doing it and who you are while you're doing it. And probably then be very irreverent.
Yes.
Let it all go. Just find the pleasure, find the joy. Pleasure always.
And probably I'm taking from what you're saying, you kind of put everything through a filter of, is this going to add to my life?
Yeah, I wish I was more militant with that filter.
Yeah.
I think often I feel like inherent people pleaser tendencies in there, but sometimes
same. Oh my God, same, sister.
Preach, babe.
Yeah.
But I do feel like there is strength in being mercurial and malleable and fitting certain circumstances or certain briefs or jobs. But the danger of that is that if you don't stand for something, you fall for everything. So it's a balance. It's a roller coaster and a balance all the time. And I don't think that I've struck that balance perfectly.
Well, no, you're here, aren't you? This is not adding anything to your life. You're doing this purely for my delight.
No, this is added heaps. But this is the stuff that I would rather do, like have the authentic conversations and not I'm so bad on social media. If anybody is listening to this and following me on social media and you're like, she doesn't even put anything out. Please just know that I love you and I wish that I could, but it's like, why would I think that anyone would want to see everything I'm doing at every moment of the day?
I know, it's paralyzing.
It's paralyzing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it sort of in a way like reduces the connection that I feel I have to an audience. It cheapens it. It makes it more disposable or something because then they're just a number of followers that I have on a page. And I just find myself, the older I get, the more I've done stuff, the more I'm interested in like slow cooking and creating, it's the difference between like a delicious slow cooked lamb shank. I don't really eat red meat, but a delicious slow cooked lamb shank versus, a Big Mac. Both delicious, both really lovely. But the time and the effort that you've put into a slow cooked lamb shank, there you can taste that intention behind it, And I hope, this sounds so wanky, but I hope to make stuff and connect with audiences.
It's about connection.
In an enduring way, in a way where...
A meaningful way.
Yeah, where I'm putting stuff out that is, either something that I've put a great deal of time and effort and structure into, or a lot of myself into, that maybe, will quote in years to come or will, makes you feel less alone. And I don't feel like I get that in making quick clips or putting out, little social media stuff. And I feel like I don't give the best version of myself to the audience in doing that. So I think this is just a really big disclaimer that I don't put out enough content.
But it's
frozen. Because I love you.
You've got performance freezing because you can't work it out.
I give you nothing because I love. That is what. That is
I love you
happening.
too much. Now, you turned 40 last year.
Don't.
And you've almost arrived at 41.
Oh, I actually am.
Oh, you're there?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's right.
It's an elusive little birthday, though, because it happens in Melbourne Comedy Festival every year.
Of course.
And people just know vaguely, Nikki Britton has a birthday in this month somewhere. But yes, I did. I turned 41.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was it?
How was the year of 40?
Yes.
I will be honest. Look, you brought me on as a comedian and genuinely I'm lighthearted. But the year of 40, absolute bin juice. Terrible.
Really?
Awful year.
I want to share with you.
41 so far. What a stunner.
I mean, it's only been going for a week or two, hasn't it?
Yep.
May
and
it continue.
I'm ready to tick it off. It's perfect.
I am obsessed with a woman on Instagram who I have had on this podcast.
She's probably putting out heaps of content. Good on her.
She actually is every single day.
I love her.
She is amazing. Her name's Heidi Clements and she's fierce. You must follow her.
I will.
She's 63
Great.
and covered in tats, doesn't take shit from anyone.
Yes.
She's chef's kiss. But she recently posted this about her 40s. And I wanted to read a transcription
oh my gosh, can't wait.
of it to you and get your thoughts. She says, I spent my 40s playing catch up with life. I had been so drunk for so many years that I forgot how to just live. And I picked a hell of a decade to just learn to be me. 40 is really when the world loves to remind you that you are single and running out of time. That you are too old now to do all the things on the list that make you a proper member of society. That you are in fact an old maid. Usually the first thing people ask you at this age every time they see you is, have you met anyone? Are you dating anyone? Looking back now 23 years later, I am here to tell you that 40 is so young that you have so much life to live. Breathe. It's going to be okay.
Oh. Okay, you brought me on this podcast to make me cry.
Hard relate.
Oh my gosh.
And keep in mind, I'm 10 years ahead of you. I've been 40. I've done it.
Yeah. So what was your experience of 40?
I can't remember.
Yeah, great.
I really can't.
Yeah.
Because I did everything that society told me to do.
Interesting.
And, you know, it was a lot. When I was 40, I had 3 kids under 5.
Oof.
Mortgage.
Yeah.
3 jobs. Yeah, I did it all. Yeah. And I'm not saying I recommend or not recommend it. I just would like to hear your thoughts because 40, I reckon, is a really big decade.
It's a big decade. And I do feel like I love to hear that you're still young. And I hard relate to it is the age where society starts to kind of, you know, things level up a bit. And I do feel like the rubber hits the road here because this is what I put it down to. What a lovely and outrageous and unexpected career I've had doing comedy and media and all of this sweet, sweet silliness. The other dream I had was to be a doctor. I actually got into medicine when I finished school and
my God, with all your work at the Clan and Buffon School, you could have been the new Patch Adams.
I could have been. You can imagine how thrilled my parents were when I was like, no, I don't think I'll do medicine.
Yeah.
I'll be a clown.
I'm going to learn how to fall and roll.
So I, at 40, just kind of like, I mean, mostly for the fact that the demographic that are most homeless in our country are women over 50 and over. They're living in their cars a lot. I was a single woman. I didn't own any property. I didn't have any super from a lifetime of freelancing.
Who does?
Yeah. And I was like, okay, mate. You're at an age now where you could pivot, but it'd have to be a pretty rapid and intense pivot. If you want to be a doctor, like the reality of 8 years of training, maybe at 48 you're a doctor, and then like at what point I mean, we're probably going to be living until 120 at that age, so there's still plenty of life to live.
Particularly if you're a doctor and you can write yourself some scripts.
That's exactly right. So I did at 40 start to go, okay, I got a mortgage. I kind of put a few things in place to set myself up.
Yeah, right.
It was I take nothing away from the romanticness of my spirit. I definitely still believe in romance. I believe in magic, all of that loveliness. But you're going to have to create that magic and that romance on your own at this point.
Yeah.
And it's such a tussle with everything you've learned and all the information society is giving you about being left on the shelf or a certain age, when it's never been very much in my bones to desperately want kids.
Yes.
I've worked with kids so much. I have plenty of kids in my life that I love and adore, and I genuinely still feel that I think there are going to be kids or younger people who are going to come into my life through fostering or mentoring or something like that.
Yeah. And
we're going to give each other what we need at the time. But those children and those people that I hope to hand over love and legacy, some kind of,
will not come out of your body.
Will not come out of my own body. So I'm off the hook as far as that timeline goes.
And how does that feel?
It feels...
is that a freeing feeling? Is that a relief? Or is it, a big question still?
Well, it does. It feels like a huge relief. I've seen so many of my friends go through fertility journeys and the struggle, and I can see I would never put myself through that. I firstly just don't have the money, but also the pain and the time and the agony that they're putting themselves through, because this is the biggest dream they've ever had in their whole life. This is what they are put on this earth to do.
Yeah.
And so I fully appreciate and understand and have compassion for anybody on that journey. It just was not me. And I think, yes, there is probably a sweet relief in knowing that authentically I don't want kids in that way. So the timeline isn't appropriate to me, but also but you might want them one day. But something might change. Well, you better put some eggs on ice just to be sure. That voice, just a little smidge. Just a little smidge in there. But it really is society's voice. If I talk to that 5-year-old who's very busy making mischief, she's like, yeah, but I don't care. What? Oh, sorry, I ran out of eggs while I was having a really fucking good time.
Yeah.
Boo-hoo, get on with it. And I do feel like that's probably where I'm at.
Yeah.
Personally. So, if kids came along, I wouldn't say no, but I'm not on that timeline. Having said that, there is a feeling, I do feel, I've never had Botox or any kind of, work done. If you have, beautiful. Anyone out there listening, live your truth, baby. But I do feel that there is, maybe there's a sense of being left on the shelf. Maybe there's a sense of 41-year-old bride. I'm not sure. And I hate that. I hate it too. But I'm completely being honest. I mean, this is a confessional podcast, right?
Yes, absolutely. But do you know what I really have always despised and rejected about that sentence, being left on the shelf? By its very nature, your agency is stripped from you.
Yes.
There is this kind of visual of me on a shelf waiting for somebody to choose me. And that fills me with rage and always has, because I don't care to be chosen by somebody.
Yes.
I choose myself.
And that, the fact that your life begins once you're chosen, or that, your happiness can start then, or you've got...
I just can't relate to it.
Do not get me wrong, Chrissie Swan. I absolutely hate the fact that it's in me.
I know.
I actually hate it.
How can we exercise it?
How can we exercise it? Because I look, uber feminist, all here for the female power.
Yes.
I got a mortgage on my own.
I'm a single
woman.
The messages get in.
Far out, they get in.
Regardless.
They get in. And this is the thing, I actually feel like, as someone who does stand on stage and go, you don't need to do, you live your truth. And that is so true. That is such a big part of me and so true. But I guess if we don't have the conversations as well about women when we don't feel that brave, when we don't feel that strong. I mean, like, we're turning this bus around and it's been going in one direction for a really long time.
Yeah.
You know, our mothers, our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers, taking back, like, really the Vikings. Sure, we dug up some bones recently and the warrior, it turns out, had wider hips and she was a woman. So do I have to hark back to those days?
I know.
That's a lot of centuries ago. And so I think we also have to be kind to ourselves and acknowledge, you know what? That voice is getting in. And so we can do an inventory and go, okay, whose voice is that? Is that my voice? Is that my truth? Is that society's voice? Who do I choose to listen to?
Who is saying that?
Who is saying that? Because I think if we don't hold that mirror up to ourselves and we live an unexamined life, we can just slap, girl power, be strong, you can do it, you can have it all.
Yeah.
And for some people, yeah, absolutely.
No, nobody can have it all.
Well, nobody can have it all at once.
Nobody can have it. Well, nobody can have it all if the all is defined and prescribed by society.
That's exactly right.
I think the all is a really personal.
Yes.
It's got to be a personal definition because my all is not the same as your all.
Yeah.
Is not the same as someone else's all.
Yeah.
So I really, every fucking article I've ever been, interviewed for sees me because I work and I have children. And it's the laziest, most boring question.
Yeah.
And I can literally count down from 1 to 10 before I'm asked, so can women have it all? You seem to have it all. I'm like, well, what is all exactly?
Yeah, yeah.
And what in my life kind of demonstrates that I've got it all? Is it that every morning I'm hand scrubbing off stains I don't understand off the floor? Is it that I'm running out of my house about to lose my mind trying to walk around the block to get my mind back? Is it with pleasure trying to solve the problem of what is that stain on my son's shirt? What is the all? What is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
What is it?
Yes. You do have to define it for yourself.
Absolutely.
And there is a race. It feels like that was the other thing about going back to our lockdown conversation. It felt when you were looking in the mirror and figuring out who you were, it also felt like the race had stopped.
Yes.
Like the comparison had stopped. The hustle had stopped. I've got an excuse to stop and rest.
Stillness.
Yeah. And that was, to have a taste of that was profound.
It was, because also what stopped was the messages.
Yes, yes.
There was no messages apart from stay inside.
Yeah.
It's a fairly basic message.
Yeah. And the like brain melt that we all had to be like, what do you mean? My self-worth is rooted in productivity, but I have to meet someone.
Yeah.
I'm in my late 30s. These are the best years.
Yeah, that's right.
All of it, all of that timeline, time running out, time thing. Yeah, we had no control over that, and that was, I guess, when I say that the year of being 40 was bin juice, and I am still processing the stuff that happened in lockdowns. I sound very wobbly, and it's been a wobbly few years, but I actually feel like I'm coming out the other end of it more honest.
Yeah,
and like, just really redefining all the parameters, all the, like, what are you chasing? What do you actually want? What do your guts need? And I haven't answered all those questions, but that was, I don't know.
But the fact that you're asking them is like the win.
Yeah, that's the win.
Yeah.
And I guess it is, going back to the inner child business, chatting to her.
We have talked about the importance of connection, and I know that you live alone. I always lived alone until, I didn't, and I had the family dream and stuff. And I'm going to play a round of what's in the belly bag with you.
Oh.
I've renamed the bum bag the belly bag because it annoys me. You don't wear it on your bum, you wear it on your belly.
Yeah, great.
I'm going to hand you this.
Okay.
There's something inside it, Nikki Britton,
Oh, my gosh.
which should spark a conversation.
Oh, I hope so. What are we?
What
A
is
dog
it?
lead.
It's a dog lead.
Oh, my goodness. Do you want me to bring up the most perfect prince that's ever walked the earth on his 4 little paws?
Yes, I do want you to bring up the most perfect prince. Tell us about
my sweet baby angel Malcolm.
Malcolm.
Oh, my goodness. Well, this was a post-lockdown thing. I stalked like those rescue sites, dog rescue sites. I was I've never stalked an ex.
I feel like in lockdown, we either fostered a sourdough starter as if it was a newborn baby.
Yes.
And Googled, what should it look like? Should it be foaming? What temperature should it be? At what point should I feed it? So there was that arm of the community.
Real Tamagotchi.
Yeah,
The sourdough,
real
isn't it?
Tamagotchi vibe. Or if you weren't doing that, you were stalking the Trading Post and rescue.org.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm gluten-free, so I couldn't do the sourdough, baby.
There you go.
Yeah, I was looking at maybe I was aligning my sense of loneliness and abandonment with every rescue dog who now didn't find themselves with a companion. Sure.
Why
in
not?
retrospect,
Yeah.
there's probably a little bit of psychology behind that. But it was a hot time for dogs. Dogs were flying out of those pounds,
God.
which I love. I love that. I hope everybody, is caring for those dogs in the best possible way. But it was hard to get your hands on a rescue dog. And I was prepared to get one of those dogs that I was going to feed that dog through a syringe. I was showing up for this
My
dog.
friend did that.
Did
she got
she?
this very old dog called Judy Garland.
Judy!
And she was on her last legs. When she picked her up from the rescue league, it was like, we're really grateful for this.
Hope she makes it home.
We give her about 6 months.
Oh, gee whiz, Judy.
That was 4 years ago. And Judy Garland is being hand-fed poached chicken that she chews with her 2 teeth that she has left. And she's living her best life.
It's a last show, Judy.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. I love that for Judy. Look what love can do.
I know.
Well, I was very lucky to come across the best dog in the world. I'm so sorry. I know everyone else thinks that they have the best, but that's just simply a lie.
Well, you're at the compound now. You're at my house and you've met Murphy, who...
I have met Murphy, who is an absolute dreamboat.
I mean, what is going on?
Such a legend.
Yes.
Love.
Yes, but no Malcolm, obviously.
Well, look, your Murphy is your Murphy. My Malcolm is my Malcolm. Obviously, I can't talk about him without just a love inside me that I cannot describe.
Do you think it's like it's scratched your maternal itch? That this is, yes, he's a dog and he's got 4 legs and stuff, but he's kind of scratching that itch that you talked about earlier of, but being involved in sharing your beautiful, pure heart with somebody.
Yeah, I do. I definitely do feel that. I feel like a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
There is, again, motherhood is not for everyone. Motherhood, the way that we have seen it portrayed for hundreds of years, is not for everyone. But I do feel I am particularly maternal. I'm a very maternal person oh boy, God, this dog. Oh,
Give me
my God.
3 adjectives that describe Malcolm.
Perfect.
Handsome?
I mean, yeah, sure, handsome. I was looking for something like deified. Like how is a god inside this dog? How do the 4 most perfect paws even touch this earth? I love him so much, and he's got some behavioural issues, and he is in the eyes of others definitely not perfect.
Really?
Oh, he's been through some stuff, sweet baby angel. He was, I got him when he was 3. He lived on the streets for a while.
He's like Kyle Sandilands.
I wish you had that kind of income. No, I'm definitely earning the bacon in this relationship,
of course.
and then I'm feeding it to him.
Yeah.
I have now become basically vegan because I don't have enough money to afford meat for the both of us. So he gets the meat.
Listen, before you leave today,
Yeah, don't you get to send me home with a steak. It's okay, baby.
I'm going to send you home with a frozen organic chicken. That I specifically go to the supermarket on a Wednesday because I know that I know it's the biggest tip ever on Wednesdays because organic chicken's expensive but tasty.
Yeah.
Right, so tasty.
absolutely.
You can taste the difference, but you can't afford it. So on Wednesdays they have quick sale.
Oh.
Quick sale, reduced for quick sale. So I get an organic chicken for the same price as one that's grown up in a very sad environment.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm going
Great
to send you home one for you and Malcolm.
Oh, my goodness.
My shout.
He will move into the compound if that is the promises you're making.
Well, I love that he is the love of your life.
He really is. He really is. And I will do everything to, the idea that someone has abandoned that dog, he will never, ever feel abandoned ever again. Yeah. He's just, I will worship him like the prince he is.
What is the most embarrassing thing that you have done to display your love for Malcolm? Say it. I know that there's something.
Oh, God. I mean, daily. I am out there just chatting to this dog like with a bag of shit in my hand. But, okay, this is the story. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready for this?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay. Malcolm, he is half cattle dog, half something else, maybe a quarter. Who knows? He's a super mutt. We're not sure. But he's got a very high prey drive. So particularly ducks and rabbits. Oh, boy. This guy lived on the streets. He had to make do. The other day I caught him licking a tyre of a truck. I thought, why are you so obsessed with that? And then I looked at the mud flap and that truck had recently hit something.
Oh my God.
He was licking up roadkill.
He's like Dexter.
He got street smarts. He got some street smarts. So I took him on a walk around a lake near where I live. It was last winter and the kind of mist descended on this lake. It was just as the sun was setting and it was absolutely stunning and eerie. And we went for a walk down there. There were no other dogs, which was great because he doesn't love other big dogs that are bigger than him.
Okay,
He's kind of has something to prove.
He's difficult.
Yeah. Gets big feelings. That's how we describe it. I say, you got big feelings, darling. You need to take space. And that is what I say to him. Anyway.
Oh, there's something more embarrassing than that.
So he's a bit of a Houdini, does like to get out of a harness. I had to order a $160 harness from America called the No Escape harness. So he is now wearing this harness. I've had it for maybe a week and I am proud of myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, now he can't escape the harness and chase a rabbit down the street or a duck. So we're on the lake and we see some ducks at close range and I'm full of just smugness. I was like, buddy, you could try and chase them. There's no way you're going to get them because we got the No Escape harness. Oh, it saved my life. This dog reared up on his hind legs, shook and squealed. And shook out of the No Escape harness.
You're joking.
I shit you not. It's impossible. I can't describe to you. It's like he's possessed by a demon. It's phenomenal. Now I know you've got to grab the back stripe and pull. Anyway, I didn't know this at the time. He escaped the harness. He leapt into the lake to chase the ducks. As I said, the sun was going down. It's now becoming quite dark. He paddles out. Malcolm! Absolutely deranged woman on the lakeside. Malcolm! I call my mum. Mum, please come. He's in the lake. The sun's going down. Mum comes down. Mum doesn't tell me until afterwards. Mum hears the terror in my voice. She doesn't have to drive far, but she has had a little bit of wine when she does the drive. It's not a long drive. No one was at risk.
No.
Everyone's okay.
She was under the limit, of course.
And I certainly, yes, we don't. But anyway, he's out there. The sun is going down. This is a very big, dark lake, and I just see this tiny little head bobbing and bobbing in the distance.
What is your mum going to do? Half cut in the Hyundai on her way down to the lake?
The other thing is there's no street lights. There's no lighting. This place is pitch black. I just needed someone to hold the phone with a light. I was desperate. I was looking for anything. Mum calls Triple O.
Yeah.
She drives down, she calls Triple O. Hello, my daughter's in the lake, she says. Now, at this point, I was in the lake. I was wading into the lake because my baby was there and I couldn't see his face anymore, his head. Now it is dark. It's dark
see his
now.
face.
It was like he was so far in the distance and I could just see his tiny little head bobbing along and then it disappeared. I saw it go under the water and I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, he's drowned. He is thick. This dog is has the dimensions of a potato. He is part wombat. He's a thick boy. And I was like, he can't swim that far. He can't swim that far. Oh my God, he's drowning. My baby's drowning. And so now Mum is on the phone to Triple O saying, my daughter's in the lake. Now, Mum's had a little bit of wine and tends towards the dramatic anyway.
Mm-hmm. No, I can see that.
Yep.
The fact that she called Triple O because you couldn't find your dog, say no more. But I love it.
So now I'm just slowly wading in. I'm wading in. I'm getting deeper.
And screaming Malcolm.
I'm screaming Malcolm across a dark lake. Then the mum finds a man. She finds a man on the lakeside in the pitch black. There's a few red flags going on.
Okay, yeah.
And she says, please, I need to save my daughter. And he goes, what, your daughter's in the lake? She said, yes, my daughter's in the lake. He is possibly a man he's living down there because he has maybe running from the law. Maybe he can't have a fixed address because the cops will find him. Anyway, they find a boat on the side of and they don't have oars, but they have a shovel. So now Mum is in a boat with a random man and a shovel to find me. And honestly, I'm wading out into this lake. There was a point where it got up to my nipples, and I know that because I had stripped down. I was in my underwear. I'd taken my clothes off because I thought I can't drown as well. So I'm in my underwear in the middle of a lake, pitch black, can't see the dog. Mum's in a boat, paddling with one shovel with a man who is definitely a felon. And he's like, how old? How old is she? How old is she? He's obviously trying to get an idea.
What size is she? Can I wear her skin as a suit?
He obviously this moment of possibly he felt remorse for possibly crimes that he's committed in the past. He thought, I can save myself and this girl, this young girl who's waded into the lake.
It's the boat trip of redemption.
So it's his boat trip of redemption. It's my Virginia Woolf moment.
Yes.
I'm wading into this lake and I just hear across the water, how old is she? Obviously, he thought I was about 5 or 6. Mum goes, she's 40. And he just goes, you pair of fucking idiots. And so now Mum is in a boat with a felon and a shovel and he's angry. And then the fire truck comes down and if nothing, they're literally shouting out. I'm standing in the lake. It's only up to my nipples. But now I'm crying. I'm speaking to my nana and grandpa who have passed over to please welcome Malcolm into heaven because he's sweet baby angel and I didn't get enough time and I love him so much. Anyway, now we hear from the shoreline, is this your dog? And the fire brigade have come down.
No.
And the fire brigade have put their big high beam lights on and found Malcolm on the shore.
He'd got himself out because he's a dog.
He got himself out. It turns out he got himself out and he was chasing rabbits. But I was in my underwear in a lake for about 2 hours at this point. Very cold. And so I waded into the shore, beat Mum and the felon. They took so long. Obviously, they only had a shovel, so it took quite a bit to get the boat back out. I am on the shore in my underwear, standing in front of a fiery who is like, here's your dog. And he was wet. He was slippery.
Of course.
He was slippery. And my muscles weren't working because I was early stages of hypothermia,
Yeah,
I
sure,
imagine.
sure, yeah.
And so I went to grab the dog, but my arms literally couldn't work because they were frozen. So like a wet seal, this dog runs out of my arms again, chasing a rabbit. And they were like, we literally cannot help you. Goodbye. And they left. Fair. That is fair. And then Mum wades back in. She goes, oh, this wonderful man's helped me. He's seen like the emergency services. He's bolted because this guy's definitely living away from the law.
Oh, and definitely there is a picture of him at the police headquarters.
Exactly. So I was covered in like sludge in my underwear, driving the dog home, just being like, baby, I know you had some big feelings, but I'm not really thrilled with what you've done here tonight, okay? And that's probably the wildest thing that I did for the dog, I guess, to date.
That story is amazing. And I believe every word because I know you well enough to know that this occurred.
This literally occurred.
There are so many bonkers twists and turns in there that I cannot wait to listen to it again. Nikki Britton, thank you so much for joining me on the ChrissieCast.
My absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You are a delight. Did you feel like you were right there on the muddy shoreline? Because I sure did. What an absolute crackerjack of a woman. Follow at Nikki Britton with 2 Ks and 2 Ts for more info about where you can catch her shows. You will not regret it. And follow me here at the ChrissieCast on Instagram and Facebook for updates on who's coming next. I am more excited for the next episode than I am when I put a broken hammock on my hard rubbish pile, and that's really saying something. See you next time.